If you've been following my channel for a while, you will know that I've been struggling to stay motivated. And in a cost of living crisis, it presents a lot of challenges where motivation is concerned. And initially, I made a subconscious decision to just let it be a sleeping business for a while. It still exists, you know. I have a website and I have loads of stock, so there's lots of stuff for sale, and I have my website, and I still sell on Etsy to a certain extent, but I've kind of put it aside and let it just tick along, and that's now become a much more conscious decision. I found lots of other side hustles that are making quicker, easier money, and I decided that in order just to coast through the economic problems that we're having this year and into next year, that I would not worry about it, not stress about it, but just go where the money is. I can come back and pick up the business at any time, and I've done it before. My business has existed for 12 years. I've had periods of being very busy, making lots of money, and then when there are glitches in the system or just something's happened, I've allowed it to just go into almost like a sleep mode. It's, you know, you can still buy from me. I'm still here. I'm still checking the sites every day, making sure that everything's ticking along. I'm just not actively promoting it. One of the problems I have with the active promotion is that I have almost completely stopped using social media. So I had stopped using Facebook, my blog, and for the most part Instagram last year. I'm just fed up with it. I don't enjoy it. I find it a very thankless task, and it's just not me. I'm just not into posting lots of images and this, that and the other. That said, all that energy has gone into YouTube because my personal channel is now monetized, so I have reasons to put more into that, and I don't think this channel will ever be monetized. I'd have to go a long way to get that, and I don't think that channels like mine get monetized because I'm not doing the same sorts of things that people who I follow on my business YouTube are doing. I'm not doing how-tos. I'm not doing day in the life type things because it just doesn't work for me. But I do have to make some decisions because I do need to promote my business and I need to drive my own traffic. And if I'm not updating any of those things, how is anyone going to know? My business does appear on Google Shopping. I've checked that, and that seems to be working very well. And so I have the bones of things that I can work on. I still have the Instagram, and I should be using that a bit more, maybe. At least to put up a few pictures a week, because it looks like I've just died. But I do have some decisions to make because all my side hustles are doing really well this year. Income's up. That's really great. I don't worry about money at the moment. But I am going to be losing one of my income streams in September. And I've known about this for a while. It doesn't affect this year because I've already planned all the income for that. But it will make a difference next year. So I need to start putting more effort back into my business now, so that hopefully if 2025 is a better year and economically maybe things get a little bit better. It's difficult because you're trying to convince people in a cost of living crisis when they're struggling to pay their mortgages and their rent and put food on the table and struggling to keep their jobs. You're trying to convince them to buy stuff they don't need. And I know that lots of people like to buy stuff they don't need, but it feels slightly unethical to push people to want to buy things they don't need when they should be paying their bills. And of course, if someone's going to buy something, they're going to buy it. But do I want to go down that road? I don't know. I am conflicted about it. So I need to think about that, but I do need to start focusing more on the business, and I think I might set a date when that begins and say, right, second half of this year I'm going to put a lot more effort into re-promoting the business, doing more uploads on me making stuff and things like that, and just start increasing things again. Maybe put a few extra bits back on Etsy. Etsy is very iffy at the moment. You know, the fee's going up probably again. I think they're talking about putting a charge on accounts to try and wheedle out the scammers. So I don't know how that's going to work. I've mostly been using my Etsy as a site to list all the haberdashery and bits and pieces rather than my proper stuff which I have on my website. So I need to drive traffic to both places really. The only other thing that's really happened is I did buy my business insurance from Direct Line. I was talking about this a couple of months back, that the renewal notice for Simply Business was just insane. It was something like £337, and I couldn't justify it. There's no point. A lot of the things that are on the policy don't really relate to me anymore because I don't go out and do photo shoots. I'm not working closely with clients in person. It's really about having a home business that sells stock. So I found new insurance with Direct Line for £69.25, and I've bought that, and that covers all my stock. It covers my tools, it covers my tech, any new tech that I've got. So I feel like I'm covered enough for what I need. I'm covered for theft at home, things like that. I just don't have all the personal indemnity and the public liability and all that, because I don't really feel that I need it anymore. And it just seemed, if I could save like nearly 300 quid, I'm going to. Because my business is now kind of sitting and not earning as much, I need those expenses to be cut down. So the only real expense that I have now every year is my website with Shopify. And I bought in bulk. I bought a year last December, and I got something like 3.5 months for free. It was really good. So I don't have to worry about that again till December. And all my other expenses that I accrue are reactionary to sales. They're like postage, they're Etsy fees, they're Shopify fees, that sort of thing. So I only really accrue those if I make a sale. So my business is always in profit. It's just a small profit based on the fact that there's not much going on. So that's fine. That kind of covers itself. So I do need to make a plan. I need to give myself a kick up the backside and say, right, I need to get back into this now. I have the time to do it, even though I have all these side hustles. I need to get motivated again. I need to get creative again. I need to get out of this routine of just doing the stuff that makes money. I have a batch of fabrics that I bought earlier this year to make new garments, new dresses, and I haven't started any of them. I've got no excuses now. The weather is lovely, it's warmer, the daylight's back, I'm out of hibernation, and now I just need to get on with it. So that's going to be my task for the second half of the year. I need to make a plan. I need to decide what direction I'm going to go in. It's difficult because all the sites that I would use in, like social media wise, so you've got your Google business page, you've got your Instagram, your Pinterest, the WordPress blog, which I still occasionally update but not that often. They don't produce results. This is the problem. When I go and do any of my other side hustles, I do a bit of work and I earn a bit of money. When I do things for the business, like I post on Instagram, or I'll add things to the Shopify store, I'll add a few things to Etsy, nothing happens. If I post a load of stuff to Pinterest, nothing happens. It doesn't turn into anything. You know, it might turn into views, it might turn into likes. I need things to turn into sales. I can't just keep dancing to the tune of these social media sites who don't care whether or not I make money. They just want their sites populated. And I've completely dropped back from Instagram for both business and personal. I am sick of all the adverts that appear. I am sick of all the accounts that drop into my feed, which I don't follow. I don't know why Instagram has to put them there. I'm fed up with all the AI stuff. it's just dull, it's just boring. I don't find it very interesting. I've got a couple of family and friends who use it as a messaging system. That's really the only reason I'm still using it, is because that's the only communication system I have with them. I've managed to wean a couple of people off onto my WhatsApp, but I've still got one or two people who only use Instagram for their messaging. So that's the only reason I really keep it. And every so often I'll go into my Instagram messages and it'll just be full of spam and scammer people offering to sell me followers and likes and promoters. And I get quite a few emails now that come via my Shopify from these so-called promoters who, you know, can turn your online presence around and make you lots of money, and it's only going to cost you this. And it's like, and it's just so irritating and so dull, and I'm really not into all that. So that hasn't helped my enthusiasm, and I just feel like, ugh, what am I doing? So I do need to relook at things. I need to reassess. I need to get back on the treadmill, so to speak, and I need to make a date for that. If I set a date and say, right, it's now the middle of the year, let's say, let's pick 1st of July, and I think actually 1st of July is the anniversary of my business. It'll be 13, unlucky for some. And if I take a date and say, right, this is when I begin, and I make a list of how I'm going to do it, and I schedule into my calendar, right, today I'm going to post something into Instagram, because it takes seconds on the app on my phone. I can go in and post, and I don't even have to go through the timeline and bother with all that. If I say, right, twice a week I'm going to post on Instagram, I'm going to do it at this time on this day, this time on this day. I'm going to start doing blogging again twice a month. Let's say twice a month. Let's make it more reliable. I'm going to start making the dresses, and I'm going to take photos and record a video of me doing those, and then I can put together some new YouTube videos. I've got to get into this. Of course, when I make the dresses, I'll have the spare fabric left over from those. That'll mean I can make some more of my braided coasters, which I really enjoy doing. And I haven't done many of those lately because I've not been making the dresses, so I haven't had the offcuts of fabric to use. And I've got some great colours to work with for my dresses, and I did show you those earlier in the year. So watch this space. I am going to become accountable. I have my snapping points, you see. I'll reach a point where I'll go, right, enough is enough, I have to deal with this, and I will deal with it. So I'm approaching that point because I cannot allow this business to sit like this for the entire year. Next year it needs to become a concern again, because I will have lost one income stream next year, and there is no replacement for that. So I now need to say, right, the business needs to, where possible, replace that. Of course, I know lots of things out of my control. We are still in the cost of living crisis. You know, I keep hearing that the stock market's going to crash, and we're still not free of recession. And then yesterday I was reading, there's a new COVID strain, and it's going through the ceiling and all that sort of thing. And you may not believe that, and it may not come to anything, but it does make people jumpy, you see. It does affect people. I keep seeing on on YouTube, lots of videos of people who've just lost their jobs, and they're struggling to get new jobs, and you know, the real tragedies of the post-pandemic, where people have lost their homes and their jobs and they're not on furlough anymore, have been happening. But those things are still happening. People are still losing their jobs. Pay is still not keeping up with the cost of living. It's a real struggle. You know, insurance costs are going up, and people can't afford all the stuff that they did before. And something has to give. You know, we're not going to be out of it this year. We're probably not going to be out of it next year. I think, depending on what happens with Ukraine, Russia and the Gaza war, I think those things do make a difference because of the supply lines for food and fuel and all that sort of thing, and that makes it all a bit jumpy. But I would hope that we would start to see perhaps some glimmers of change towards the end of next year. So be under no illusion, you know, things are what they are at the moment. and you just have to go with it. And that's why I started doing all the side hustles, because I could turn that into money. And that was regardless of the cost of living crisis, because a lot of those things I was doing carried on regardless. They weren't really affected. So that's my update. I'm still here. I am still... I haven't forgotten. It's always in the back of my mind that I know I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to get my backside into gear, and I will do it. I know it's really hard. I know that a lot of small businesses like mine, work from homers, are struggling. We're all looking for extra income. We're all trying to look for the magic bullet that sets our sales on fire again. And I don't think it's out there at the moment, and you need to be realistic and just focus on just get the money in. Even if that means you have to go back to a day job. I haven't, but I have lots of little side hustles. I've got like 7 or 8 little side hustles now, and they all go into the same pot, and they turn into a yearly income that I can live off. And that was my only goal. So that's my update. Thank you for still being here, the few of you who are still here. I know this probably is not a very interesting channel. I am transparent, authentic, unscripted. I am what I am. I don't make videos for likes. I don't make them for image. This is what it's like. And if you are a small business who's just sitting there thinking, I don't know what to do, look for the channels that are representative of what you do and how your business is structured. If, like me, you work in your spare room, like my big crazy spare, or my small crazy spare room here. Because there are lots of us doing that, and of course that keeps the bills down, because I'm not paying any business rent, I'm not having to pay rates, I can shut the door on it at the end of the day, I can work till midnight if I choose, so it gives me that flexibility, and I like that. So that's my update. Thank you for watching. Any comments, do drop them. Any advice you need, any advice you have to give, because I'm sure there is plenty of you out there who are doing the same thing. I live on my own, I don't have a second income coming in from a partner. Everything I do has to be for me, and I know that lots of the small businesses that post, or some of the ones that I follow, they have partners who are in work, they have 2 incomes coming in, and there's just not quite as much pressure, I would say. And when you are on your own and you are the only person making the money, it does tip the scales a bit, and you have to think about that logically. So if you're in a similar situation, comment, like. I'm always really interested to find out what's going on out there. I'm always looking for new channels. I'm always looking for people's slant on things, so to speak. So I'm going to end now because I've been waffling. Thank you for watching, and I will catch up with you again soon. Bye bye.